All right, fellas. It feels good to be back. I'm here with my brother, AJ Hepler. How you doing, man?
That would be me. It does feel good to be back. It's been a while, and we got some good stuff to talk about. Considering you've got a lot going on here with your team, so and just the whole NBA. As we know, the lottery was the other night, so we can
Playoff are
officially.
in full swing too.
You guys have showed a lot of love to these mock drafts, and we can officially have the right order and hopefully the right guys, at least at the top, filled out here. It's good to have not have to do the whole tankathon thing and then decide if they get this pick.
It's less work, and we kind of know what these guys are at this point because the draft is just over a month from now, and I'm really excited for that. It's going to be a really fun one, especially with my Pistons at the top, your Thunder at 6, and then you got the Raptors moving up. You got Houston staying up there, and Cleveland, of course, up there as well. So, how are we doing this? We're going 1 through 14, lottery. Detroit's on the clock with the first pick. I guess I'll take that one because it's my team. So, I got them going with the obvious one in Cade Cunningham, 19-year-old, 6'7", 220 point guard out of Oklahoma State. He took the college basketball world by storm this year, and he lived up to all expectations with his size, pace, versatility, playmaking potential, shot creation, and defensively he could be really special as well.
Yeah, how many 6'7" lead guards do we have in the league? Let's see. We got Ben Simmons, who things aren't working great in his favor right now. Luka, if you want to count LeBron. Harden's 6'7", but that's a pretty good company to be in.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of them, but the guys that are usually pretty elite.
Yeah, these guys that are oversized guards don't usually come in and not do well. Even Michael Carter-Williams won Rookie of the Year. And I think he's going to be better than that, obviously. And I'm happy for you guys because living in Michigan, it'll be the first time in my lifetime that there's just a real poster kid for the Pistons, Blake had it for a while, but it was never anything like this, and it'll be fun, man. There's not a lot to say about Cade as a player that we don't already know, all other than he's gonna obviously come in and run the offense right away.
Dude, when I tell you, in my decade or more of being a Pistons fan, that was the most excited I've been easily. Mm-hmm. Because if you really think about it, what else is there to be really excited about? We made the playoffs a few times.
Drafted
we didn't do anything.
KCP.
Yeah, we didn't. We drafted, our best draft pick was probably Chris Middleton, who we traded right away, and Andre Drummond,
who, by the way, was awful the other night.
Yeah, and
Chris Middleton, Andre Drummond.
Yeah, so with us getting the first pick, there was already a lot to look forward on our roster with. 2 of our rookies making the all-rookie teams, and then Killian Hayes showing flashes of being really good, and Jeremy Grant. Shout out to him for making the Olympic team, too.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was the last guy put on there, but they're going to make some noise for sure.
Kevin Love, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, with us adding Cade Cunningham, it's just adding to the riches of the young potential that we already had.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think he'll really help with a guy like Sadiq Bey and feeding Isaiah Stewart for sure.
Take some pressure off Killian Hayes.
And I think this is a really good opportunity for Dwayne Casey because he's always been known as a player development type of guy. And I think you guys could be, we talked about this a few times, but in a situation where he sticks around for a while to develop these guys, and then when it comes time to actually really win big games, and obviously they're gonna have to go in a different route. Maybe not. Maybe you guys get there and he's making good schemes and all that, but more than likely I see a switch eventually.
Coach Bud's in the conference finals right now, so.
God.
Anything's possible.
It hurts to watch Coach Bud in the last 6 minutes. Coach Bud's one of those guys too.
You want to hear my hot take? If the Bucks win the finals, they should still fire Coach Bud.
Yeah, they'll win in spite of him. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't want to get too off
They,
subject.
like,
here,
let's be
but
real. They wouldn't have beat Brooklyn if they were fully healthy.
No.
It was that close with a 50% James Harden and Kevin Durant doing what
They
he was
almost
doing.
didn't beat Brooklyn if Kevin Durant's feet were a half an inch smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah. So, congrats to you guys, and that's obviously a huge milestone.
One of the very few W's we've had recently.
Yes.
Anyways, you're on the clock with Houston at number 2. What do you have with them?
All right, so the Houston Rockets, the glorified franchise that everyone loves except for anyone with a brain. They're here at 2, and we have them taking probably my favorite player in the draft that I've been saying this for a while, and Jalen Green. And this one was kind of hard to choose between him and the next guy.
Most mocks I would say had Mobley at 2.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking both of these guys have tremendous upside, and it's a guard-driven league. Like, big guys don't run the league anymore.
Yeah, but Jalen Green's 19 years old, 6'6", 178-pound shooting guard out of the G League. Played for the Ignite with Jonathan Kuminga. Yeah. Would you say he's the best pure scorer in this draft?
Green?
Yeah.
Him and Cade, for sure. It's kind of neck and neck, I would say.
Okay.
But
so
he's more explosive, which could obviously translate to being a little better of a scorer.
Yeah, he's extremely explosive, shifty, has a great pace, great scoring instincts. Obviously, he's got the perimeter game, and he can shoot off the dribble, pull up. He can do all the 3-level scoring. He can get you a bucket any way you want.
His upside is like
it's
a Bradley Beal level scoring outputs.
Yeah. Improvement areas. Frame is a big one. He's still really skinny, but I mean, those guys, they come in and they get that NBA food money. And, they start eating good, and usually it works out in the best.
Freaking personal cooks and all that stuff.
And at the end of the day, guys like Kevin Durant and even Giannis was put on a lot of muscle. He still has a slender frame for the way he plays. It shows these guys can still dominate with their size. And his projected role of creating combo guard, I think this is a guy that could be a all-star. I think him and Cade have easily the highest potential in the draft, other than maybe the next guy, which
I think the top 5 all have potentially like all-star, all-NBA type.
Yeah, sure.
Upsides, but honestly, I feel like people might disagree with us not going Mobley, but like I said, my thinking here was it being a guard-driven league. Evan Mobley is probably the second best prospect and the safer prospect to go with, but it's just a guard. And with Houston's roster, I don't know about a Evan Mobley, Christian Wood backcourt. Like, that's so.
Yeah,
a couple
weird.
Of very slender frames, not a lot of size there. Like, obviously they're both extremely skilled, but I don't think those two together, with them playing so similar, is really a good idea. And honestly, if we were doing a mock draft with trades, I would just have Cleveland sending Houston like another pick and moving up to 2 so they could get their guy in Mobley, and then Houston can still get Jalen Green. So, but without doing trades, this is just kind of how I thought we should do it.
Okay, for sure.
Anyways, I'm on the clock with Cleveland at number 3, and obviously I want to have them go with Evan Mobley, the 19-year-old 7-footer out of USC. He was amazing this year for USC, averaging 17 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks a game.
3 blocks.
He's honestly an ideal build for today's game with great coordination. He's really quick for a big, explosive lob threat, and he even has range out to the 3-point line. So, like, this guy's upside on both ends of the floor is tremendous, and that's why he's easily a top 2 or 3 prospect.
Yeah. You have right here, like, improvement areas, not a physical rebounder. Tough matchup against stronger bigs. My worry about Evan Mobley is that he's going to Cleveland, so that's tough. My worry about him is I think he needs to land with the right coaching staff, because I don't want him to be turned into like strictly a stretch
Yeah.
big like a Brook Lopez or Porzingis, or I don't want him to end
Yeah.
up thinking he's a guard and being told to play like a guard. I think, yeah, his size, his build doesn't let him dominate in the post, but he definitely has a presence down there, and his all-around game is great, and I don't want it to be limited. So 3 to Cleveland is great for Cleveland. I don't know if it's good for Mobley, but we'll see how it works out. Maybe that duo of him and Sexton could be really nice.
Yeah, I'm usually one to not like what Cleveland does with how they run their organization, but like the idea of him, Okoro, Sexton, and Garland, honestly, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
If they can, I don't know about the pieces around them, but for something to build with, that's obviously pretty ideal, I would say.
For sure.
So we got Toronto Raptors moving up a few spots to number 4. Who do you have them taking?
Okay, so probably would you say the biggest name in the tournament last year?
Yeah.
We have them taking guard out of Gonzaga, Jalen Suggs, 6'4", 205. It's weird because when I watch Suggs play, he always looks like small to me, but 6'4",
He's decent.
205, like he's got size.
He's decent size.
One of the better playmakers in the draft, has crazy athleticism, great in transition. Maybe along with Cade, it's funny because every time I try to compliment a guy, I go back to Cade being able to do the same thing. But he has maybe along with Cade and a few other guys, best IQ in the draft. He's shown already in college that he's a winner. I think it's a good pick for Toronto, having Van Vliet as the off guard in this situation and not having as much of offensive role, having to carry the load as much. I don't know. We're not sure what they'll end up doing with Lowry, but you have an idea that he might end up going to.
We can talk about that a little bit.
To Philly.
Oh yeah. Well, first I want to talk about like Suggs' fit more in Toronto. I honestly think this is the best. This is the very best fit for him. I feel like right away he's gonna come in. There's not gonna be a whole lot of pressure on him. Because they already have enough guys to at least make the playoffs. Like, guys like Van Vliet, Siakam, OG, Boucher, and then obviously they have this pretty great asset in Kyle Lowry if they choose to keep him or move him. If they take Suggs, I would say they probably move on from Lowry, considering Lowry's 35 or 36 now. And he's going to want to, contend for titles. And, he's played for Toronto for how long now? Just like a decade at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, Suggs going to Toronto is obviously a great fit. And with what you were saying, I think the best option for Toronto was a sign and trade. And with a guy like Ben Simmons, his value being at an all-time low, I think they should take a shot at that and maybe give him Lowry and maybe another asset or picks to go along with it, because I don't think you could just swap Lowry for Simmons, considering Lowry's 10 years older.
Yeah, I like the idea. I wonder what they do with a guy like Siakam, because I don't know if you can play him and Ben Simmons on the floor at the same time. Especially, that'd be an interesting situation.
And I thought of another trade too. What if it was Simmons and Tobias Harris for Lowry and Siakam? Something like that.
That's
you
a good
just
one.
swap two guys.
That
That's a blockbuster trade, but part of it makes sense.
So that would give them a lineup of Suggs, Van Vliet, Anunoby, Harris, Simmons. Where they run the small ball, Simmons at center.
Yeah, that's what I think Simmons should be, to be honest.
I think he should be a 4 or 5.
And the other 4 guys in that lineup can really shoot it. So.
Oh yeah, I think that's a really good idea for sure.
Well, yeah. Anyway, Orlando at number 5. They obviously have 2 picks in the top 8, so they were huge winners in the lottery for sure. And I have them taking Jonathan Kuminga, the 6'8", 210-pound forward out of the G League at night. He was a teammate with the second overall pick in Jalen Green. Kuminga has a great frame, impressive combination of quickness, strength, and fluidity. Definitely has shot-making potential with good shooting mechanics and crazy good defensive potential, and he showed that with the Ignite when they were playing in the bubble in those few games.
I think it's very similar to a guy that they already have in Jonathan Isaac, who's had injury issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a good place for a guy like Kuminga to step in, for sure.
And I honestly think you can play two guys like that together.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because Kuminga can stretch the floor more than Isaac.
And you can never have enough defense.
No, you can't. I really like what Orlando's doing here. Like, I feel like in the long term they might be the winners of the Bulls trade.
You could argue they already are.
Yeah, you kind of wish you'd have got a better player back than Wendell Carter, because I don't think I see Wendell Carter getting any better than he is right now. But
I see like rotational big for him.
But if they keep up putting nice players together and Cole Anthony improves and they have picks now for the future, and I like what Orlando is doing here, and I think Kuminga is going to be a big piece of that. And he's the youngest player in this draft, right? Only 18.
Just getting in this top 5 of this draft is just a huge W for any team that's in it. Really,
yeah, because this draft is stacked. Like, and if you're in the lottery, you're probably gonna end up with a role player at minimum. And if you end up in the top 5, I mean, all these guys, even the next guy, who I'll go here to now if we're done with Kuminga. At the 6th pick, we have the best team in the history of basketball, Oklahoma City Thunder.
You can say some dumb stuff.
I know this sounds like revisionist history, even though I've always been a fan of this guy. But as I've done my studying a little more after we got railed in the in the lottery and ended up with the 6th pick.
That was the worst case scenario for you guys.
Yeah, man. But hey, I mean, we got a lot going for us still. But anyway, we have Scotty Barnes at the 6th pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder, a 19-year-old out of Florida State, 6'9", 227 pounds. He's what'd you call him? He's
point forward.
Point forward type player, and I always love those type of guys. And I think if I had a count for him, it would be like a Draymond Green, maybe with a little more athleticism. For now, yeah.
And offensive upside.
Yeah, his offensive upside is higher for sure. But I just love a guy like this coming in right away with great IQ. Great facilitator, great transition. Actually, I think a better count for this guy is Lamar Odom. And let's throw back a little bit, but I absolutely love the pairing of him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I was watching some tape last night. I guess Shai was by far led the league in like assisted buckets at the basket, like lead passes to where he was running to the hole, and I think a guy. Scotty Barnes would just be great for that, and hopefully the development of other guys as well. And we just need to continue getting better and putting guys around, because it's going to be a while before I think we're like competitive again. And I like the pick. Obviously, if the horrible organization over down below in Ohio would like to give us the 3rd pick for a robbery, then I'll take it. But I'm fine sitting here at 6. I don't know how you feel.
I've been wanting to ask you this, and it relates to your Thunder and my Pistons.
Yeah.
How many picks would you give up to move from 6 to 1?
Well, not what you said last night, because you wanted like 40. No, you wanted like 10 or 12.
It's valid. I'm gonna look up how many the picks that you guys actually have. Okay, so this article was put up 3 days ago. And so you have 6, 16, number 18. So I would want all 3 of those. I would want all 3 of those.
Okay.
And I would want... Oh, man. I would want 2026 Clippers, and I would want, oh man, 2024 via, I think, the Thunder. And then I would want... Ooh. And then I would want another first. So
I might be asking a little too much here. How about this?
It's like 6 first-round picks, but none of them are like guaranteed to be anything good.
Well, if I give you 6, 16, 18, 2024, and Darius Baisley.
If I'm Troy Weaver, I'm thinking about it, but I'm probably asking for more. Because the difference from 6 to 1 in this draft, I think, is pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, you go from a role player to a guy who would run our offense right away.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of funny because throughout this whole draft process, we've always discussed how my Thunder have a great chance of getting like 2 top 5 picks. And you were always so pessimistic about the Pistons. You're like, yeah, we're going to end up with 7 as always.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we got destroyed in the lottery and you guys ended up with the first pick.
It's usually the complete opposite. Like,
yeah,
we
sure.
usually get absolutely toast. Anyway, we should probably move this mock draft a little quicker now since we're out of like the big group. But Golden State is at 7-14, and with the 7th pick, I've got them taking NBA ready guard Davion Mitchell out of Baylor. He was also, like Suggs, one of the big names in the tournament this year, obviously, because Baylor did win a national title, but Mitchell showed a great ability to get to the basket, shoot the three, and then he was locked down. And when I say lockdown, he locked down on defense. So, obviously, his age is really one of his only weaknesses in terms of, like, evaluating his talent, but, like, for a Warriors team, it's perfect because he's going to be ready to go.
I would say his only 2 weaknesses are, like you said, his age, and this Warriors team is the only team here that could take this guy because they don't have to worry about like him being 25 in 3 years because it won't matter. And his only other weakness is maybe his size because I know he's like a 2 guard and 6'1". I mean, that's a little undersized. But
I mean, hey, Damian Lillard went all 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm not saying it can't happen, but when you look at, I think age is a big thing to look at. With that said, I mean, perfect pick for them. I think at any point, if there's a point where Davion Mitchell and Andrew Wiggins are on the floor at the same time, and Andrew Wiggins is assuming he's the defender he was this year, that's clamps. Like that's crazy. And yeah, man, he's locked down.
And this only happens if the Warriors are willing to like stand pat for the draft, and if they do, these are the kind of guys that I see them taking. Like they're not. I don't think they go for like 19-year-old with upside because that's not going to help them win now. Like,
for sure.
And when you got a Steph Curry at like 33 years old, you got Klay Thompson turned 30, Draymond obviously a little past his prime too. Like they gotta go now, and they could be a team that I've talked about this with you before, like off recording, but I could see them making a push at like a Bradley Beal. So, or even a Ben Simmons, honestly. Like they have probably more assets than any team right now.
If they were to go get a Ben Simmons, I think they would have to move on from Draymond. Because I don't know how those guys are.
Both of those.
That's awful.
That's a lot on Steph and Klay and Wiggins' shoulders for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they'll get the ball to him for sure, and they'll get him open, but yeah, it'll be hard because they'll all be double teamed. But moving on here, we have the Orlando Magic again at the 8th pick. Again, these guys, the Orlando's rebuilding process is starting to look really good here, and they got another lottery pick here at 8, and we have them taking. Actually, I said earlier that Kuminga is the youngest player, but I don't know who's older between him and this guy. But 18-year-old Moses Moody, 6'6", 205-pound 2-guard out of Arkansas. I had Arkansas before like the tournament. I had them winning my bracket, and they really disappointed me. But he was
when did they lose?
I think 2nd or 3rd round. But he was my biggest reason because he was on fire going into the tournament, and then he was okay in the tournament. But
I mean, hey, all it takes is one bad game sometimes.
Yeah, but 18.6 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, 2 assists, zero point 0.7 blocks, and almost 1.5 steals. His strengths are his length, athleticism. He's really good on and off ball, which is, is a trait not a lot of guys have, and it's really important to be able to run off screens and score without having all the attention on you.
Yeah.
Solid handle, good on-ball defense. Improvement areas, his strength, creativity, efficiency, his ability to rebound. 6'6", I think, is good size for a guard, and I think he can end up becoming quite a rebounder. His projected role as a scoring guard. I think Moses Moody is perfect for them, man. Like, him and Cole Anthony in the backcourt is a really good backcourt of the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
They've got a lot of guys that have stuff to prove this year, like Fultz and John Isaac coming off those ACL tears. So, I mean, they're going to be a deep team. Like, deep in terms of talent, there's not a lot of guys that you can say, like, oh, he's going to be really good this year. Mm-hmm. There's just going to be a bunch of guys on the roster with a lot to prove, and that can be a good or bad thing sometimes. So, them getting Kuminga and Moody in this draft would be a huge W in my opinion. Anyway, I'm on the clock with Sacramento in the lottery once again at pick 9, and they're going to take Jalen Johnson, 6'9" forward out of Duke.
Just like to say real quick, you can go on after it. This is my steal of like the lottery. Like,
okay, you're high on Jalen Johnson.
I think he's going to be one of the best rookies for sure.
Okay,
but go on.
He has great combination of size, strength, and athleticism. That's always a good start to have. Good instincts and versatility. Fantastic rebounder for his position. Per 36, he actually would average 10 rebounds this year. So, great handle for his size, good in transition, and with a change of pace. And with him, in Sacramento specifically, they're a team that wants to run. With him, it would be him and Halliburton and Fox. That would be a quick team. And Bagley even is pretty mobile for a big. So
yeah, I don't know if you've seen. Did you see the stuff going on with Bagley, like within the last 48 hours or whatever? He went on his usual expected. Like, he does this every few months. He liked a bunch of tweets on Twitter about him getting out of Sacramento and how Sacramento... He even liked a tweet that, like, straight up said Sacramento was, like, one of the worst organizations. Like, and if I don't know if you know this, a lot of people don't know this, but Marvin Bagley's father is, like, very similar to LeVar Ball. He's just a lot more quiet, but he likes to have a lot of power in what his son does. And I could see this a situation where Bagley gets out of there within the next year or two. And I think Jalen Johnson's perfect substitute. I think this is every draft we have a guy where we look back and we're like, oh yeah, of course he worked out. Like, why did we think he wouldn't? Michael Porter Jr. was that guy for injury reasons. I think this guy is a guy that's going to be like, I think what's holding him back from being a top 5 to 6 pick is how things went at Duke, because he left early. And
in his shooting percentages,
yeah. But I think we're gonna look back. I think Jalen Johnson's gonna be in the run for Rookie of the Year.
If he can even be like an average shooter, I think he could be special for sure.
Yeah. Moving on here, the 10th pick, we have the New Orleans Pelicans, who finally decide to get some shooting to a certain extent. Here with James Bouknight, 6'5" guard out of UConn. One of my favorite players in the draft. He's athletic, 3-level scorer. He can get you a bucket anywhere. Like, my projected role, we literally put down bucket getter. Like, he just...
Especially on New Orleans. Like, he's going to have to play a role in that.
And he'll have some guys. I think Zion is a very underrated facilitator. Like, he can really pass.
That's a fact, yeah.
Obviously, Lonzo Ball's main job is to facilitate. And I don't know what their plans are in the long run for Brandon Ingram, but I think he's the only guy holding back maybe a Bouknight here in his scoring. Yeah. Improvement area is defense, but guess what? All of these guys, even Mobley, who might be the best defender, they're not going to come in and, maybe Kuminga. He might be the only guy who comes in and locks down right away, kind of like the Isaac Okoro type of guy. But I mean, defense is probably the best thing you can have here in improvement areas because these guys they almost always develop defensively as they get.
He's got a good frame to
bigger.
be a good defender too.
Yeah. And like he averaged 19 points a game basically in college, so I think he'll step in and help them right away for sure.
Yeah, and at pick 11, I've got the Charlotte Hornets taking the first technically overseas player in the draft, and it's Alperen Sengun. I hope I'm saying that right. The 6'10", 240-pound center out of Turkey. He actually was the Turkish League MVP at the age of, I think he was 18 at the time, but now he's 19.
Wow.
His per 36 numbers were 19, 9, 3 assists, 1.5 blocks, and 1.5 steals. So obviously the production has not been a problem for Mr. Alperen. I have his strengths being mobility, post move, athleticism, with his improvement areas being spacing the floor, turnovers, and fouls. That's usually the problem with big men, like fouls and spacing the floor.
Yeah.
But he can shoot it. Like, his stroke looks pretty smooth. I don't think that the offensive system his Turkish league had him in was completely beneficial for him, but like
percentages aren't always a direct correlation of shooting ability,
Yeah.
So
I mean, sometimes it's just the smallest tweak can make you go from like 25% to like
40.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. But yeah, Charlotte gets a much needed skilled big man. Like, when's the last time we could say Charlotte had a at least decent starting big man? Like,
it's
maybe
been Al Jefferson. It's been a minute.
Maybe Dwight Howard, kind of.
Yeah.
Eh.
I think Al Jefferson was their last All-Star at center, but it's been a long time.
But yeah, I like the idea of him and LaMelo Ball, like a little pick and roll game.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Obviously, both of those guys being extremely skilled.
Because LaMelo, he has that overseas experience, and he kind of plays like a lot of the European guys do, and I think that's like a perfect combination.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're on the clock with San Antonio at 12.
Speaking of European guys, even though this guy's not from Europe, that didn't make any sense. We had the San Antonio Spurs here, who I think would be perfect for the previous guy, Alperen Sengun, but they'd also be perfect for this guy, and Franz Wagner, your boy out of Michigan here, 6'8", 205. I think he has like really high. Like, I think he's gonna come in and work in the NBA right away.
Yeah.
Efficiency, IQ, one of the best defenders. Improvement areas: his ability to score, free throw attempts, aggressiveness for sure. Two-way forward is projected role. I think this is a guy that Pop would just love to have right away. 15 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.2 blocks, and almost 2 steals a game. I think he'll be perfect for them, and he'll get decent minutes right away.
Yeah, I think Franz just does a little bit of everything out there. Like, he's just a winning player. Like, when you put him on the floor, it's just beneficial for you and the other 4 guys on the floor.
Yeah. It's no Matt Quaid.
I would say his biggest strength, though, is his defense. Like, his frame and quickness, he just locks guys down, whether it's guards, bigs, or forwards.
A lot of length.
Yeah, he can guard pretty much every position. So even if nothing else translates, he's always going to have that defense.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
So
shout out to Mo, by the way, his older brother.
Yeah, I think Franz is a better prospect.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got 2 more picks here, and I've got Indiana at 13. I've got them taking Keon Johnson, the 18-year-old 2-guard out of Tennessee.
Last night he broke the vertical record. At the combine, 48 inches.
Good lord.
Nuts.
Yeah, who's gonna get to 50? You think he could get to 50 on a good day, or do you think that 48 was his good day?
No, I think he can get to 50. You better be in the dunk contest right away.
Yeah. Dude, we just watched that video.
Yeah.
And he was probably 40 inches up, and I was like, wow, that was pretty high.
And then
he just kept going. Like, he was just floating at one point. Like, it made no sense. But, like, yeah, the guy can jump, but right now he's extremely raw. I think it's going to take a few years for him to really develop as a player. But, like, the upside when you're that athletic and he can play make already and defend, like, I really like his upside for sure.
For sure. Yeah, good guy here. And finishing off the lottery here in an absolutely nightmare situation for the rest of the league, we
The
have
Warriors get even more shooting.
we have another older guy here in the draft going to Golden State, getting Corey Kispert, 6'7", 224 out of Gonzaga. This is just horrifying, man. He's
That's what I said when I made it. I was like, oh,
he's
yeah.
like a bigger Kyle Korver. He gave them 23 a game at Gonzaga. Like, his shooting is ridiculous, and all he has to do,
He's at like 50%.
strengths, obviously. Guess what? His strength is shooting. Team defense, IQ, improvement areas, explosiveness, rebounding, upside. I got to be honest with you, Chance. He's not going to improve explosiveness. He's just not that type of guy, you know? He doesn't have enough melanin.
It's hard to like say.
but-
It's hard to like improve explosiveness too. So
Yeah.
I guess me putting that in the notes made absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna move on from
But
that.
projected role, efficient 3-and-D wing. All he has to do is shoot threes, and he's going to come in right away, and they're just going to be like, here's the ball, shoot it.
Yeah, exactly. Sit in the corner and then play hard on D. Like,
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for. Like,
Yeah.
the guy's IQ is extremely high, so I think it's not going to take long for him to get used to that Warrior system.
Yeah.
And obviously, playing with Steph and Clay is not the hardest thing ever,
No.
especially when you're a forward. So,
That's Pachulia.
so yeah, the Warriors in this mock draft, I think, catch a huge dub with Mitchell and
Yeah, they definitely.
and they'd
do well.
probably be second unit guys, like, and that's a huge bonus to have those guys coming off your bench. So yeah, that's the end of our fourth mock draft, and this one was post lottery edition.
Yep.
This was a lot of fun to do. I hope you guys enjoy. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Drop the like button if you enjoyed, and we will see you guys next time.
Don't forget to not be a Rockets fan. See ya.